Welcome back to the carpool lane.
Yeah, excited to have everybody. Hopefully everybody's got a frosty cool beverage and ready to go.
Or a nice warm tea like I have. I'm trying something new, so I'll let you know.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of go over here. Here's what we're going to do tonight. We are going to have some announcements and stuff, the usual thing up front. Tara and I are going to go through our trip planning process kind of high level because we have a video on this, and honestly not much has changed except for the GPS that we use since that video.
Right.
Because you've hopefully seen the video where we switched from the Rand McNally to the Garmin. We still use the Garmin, still love it.
But we have gotten a lot of people wanting to know about the booking process, and are we challenged because the rig is so large?
We're challenged.
He's challenged living with me. So we definitely are going to do a brief overview, and then we're going to do some talking with some friends about boondocking. Yeah,
you know, the thumbnail and title might have been the clue, but we're going to have Chris and Cherie from Technomadia / Mobile Internet Resource Center. This is going to be their Technomadia hats tonight because they have some cool stuff about boondocking. They've been on the road a long, long time, so we'll get into that.
Yes.
And then we're going to have some Q&A time. We've got some preloaded questions ready to go, and then we're going to take questions from the chat. We want to have enough time for that, so let's just jump into it.
Really quickly, we want to say thank you to our awesome moderators. As you know, Yumi in the RV is in the house. They're always here. We love them. You guys rock. Phil and Stacy. And then we have, you may know them as Carl and Nene or Kyle and Renee, but Happily Ever Hanks is here as well. And of course, our awesome VA, Chris, is here with us too. So thank you all.
Everybody be good.
Everybody be good or they'll kick you out.
Get the boot. Okay, so we got that part done. So updates. We don't have a whole lot to update.
Well.
Except for bam!
There she is, the beauty.
We got her, what, 2 days ago?
2 days.
Here's a couple of pictures. This is us picking her up at the dealership.
I have to say, depending on the light and which phone we use to take pictures, it looks like candy apple red in some, and then the one that you're seeing here with the RV behind it is probably a little closer to what it looks like, I think, in person. But it's pretty cool because it looks different in different lighting. I like it.
Yeah. So we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail on the truck because, of course, we're going to have a dedicated video. I am in the process right now of, doing all the wiring over, doing all the mounting over,
He's been spending a lot of time in the truck over the last 2 days.
Getting the mud flaps on, all that stuff. Yeah. Everything has to be set up. So, but it is a F450 Platinum loaded up with everything except for the snowplow. That's
because hopefully we never need. Yeah. That would be bad.
But we're loving it so far. It's an awesome truck, and it's got like 97 miles on it. So we got to put another 903 miles on it before we can tow with it.
I think we're just going to get on 75 and drive up and down until we get those miles, or maybe we'll just go get in the truck and go see some friends.
Alrighty, so
you know who you are.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into our trip planning process, and I want to preface this section with: there's no perfect right way to plan. There is no perfect duration to stay or where to stay. Everybody's different. Everybody has different needs.
Right.
We work full time, like a lot, and so we need to, have at least a good 10 days or so. 10 to 14 days in the summer when we're traveling from place to place. That gives us at least 2, maybe 3 days to go out and explore and do something. And
so, you factor in working all the time, and then I usually have several bad days within that 2-week period as far as health stuff. So that we have found gives us enough time. And then there's also the weather that you have to factor in. Sometimes it just isn't very good. So yeah, that seems to be the right amount for us. I mean, by that 2 weeks, we're usually itching to go and ready to hit the road, but it does ensure us time to explore the area.
Yeah, and in the winter, we stay longer. Like when we stay near family, we'll generally stay a month. That way we have plenty of time, and we can work on other projects and get stuff done. And
I did have somebody that's asking why we have to drive 100 or 1,000 miles, which is actually not a bad thing to touch on.
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a break-in period. They don't want you towing. It's in the manual. I'm one of those weirdos that reads the manual, like the whole thing.
Well, actually, I was the one that told him that we have to drive 1,000 miles first.
I knew already.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." I'm like, so it's just because it's a diesel, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of trucks should want a break-in period before you do any heavy towing.
I mean, it makes sense, but we don't really know, I guess, exactly why.
All right, so that's that.
Let's do it.
Let's move on.
By the way, your friend Dave says you need a haircut.
I just got a haircut.
Dave, he just got a haircut.
Dave Daring?
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, I didn't do any product because,
I mean, he was too busy in the truck. That's why.
I was working on the truck all day. Sometimes does anybody need anything? Can I drive somewhere, do something?
Oh, I want to say real quick thank you to, we have some friends that have really come through for us this winter. And because of them, we have had places to stay in Florida. So we want to say thank you to Norm and Heather and Gabe, whose house we are at right now. And they've let our large RV be parked here for quite some time.
Huge stock.
And the Tree Man, Kathy and Sean, thank you so much because they let us hang out with them in the Keys for about 6 weeks, and that was fabulous. So we have great friends. Thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay, so let's jump into our trip planning process. And a lot hasn't changed again, so I'm going to give a bit of an overview. Mm-hmm. It all starts with Google Maps. Now, we don't use this for travel, but
it all starts with a dream.
Go away.
A dream and a plan.
This is where we will just randomly throw stuff on the map. You'll notice they're kind of categorized by things to see and stuff like that. And
so we get ideas from you guys, from friends, from research, from other people that we meet, and just places in general that we've always wanted to go to or that we've heard of. And we just throw them all on this master map so that whenever we decide what part of the country we want to spend some time, then we already have a good idea of the places that we want to see.
Exactly. And it also helps so when we know we're going to an area, we can look in that area and say, oh, has anybody given us any personal recommendations on campgrounds or rides? You notice we have some rides in here. Things to see, any personal invites for mooch-docking or boondocking that we've had. So that's just one tool that we use. It lets you use these categories and then assign colors and icons to them. So it's kind of cool. Next, we also use Google Calendar. Now we have two calendars here. One of them is a time outline, and this is where we start, right? So let's say we're going to Vegas and San Diego, then back to Lake Tahoe like this shows right now. And we'll just put down a basic time outline, and then we try to fill those in with actual bookings. And that will go on a different calendar. So I can turn them on, turn them off. And then each of our bookings inside there will actually have the address, so we can just click on it to get to the map. Because while we're there, we're always looking for, where's the UPS store?
And we also try to put, if we have a confirmation number or a reservation number, we also try to put that in there as well, just so that we have it. We can get it quickly.
Here's Las Vegas.
Phil and Stacy
are in 319.
No, they weren't.
Turns out none of us were in any of those sites. If anybody saw our Las Vegas.
Yeah, you guys know. You guys know the trouble we had in Vegas.
But then we get to the core of our whole process. All the information that we get from when we book something, or even if we're boondocking or something, goes in here. So I have it opened up here. Again, this tool, I could spend a whole hour going over the features in this tool. And if that's something you guys are interested in, maybe we can make a video again, but let us know in the comments.
The only thing that I don't like about this Trip Wizard and is I can't be on it on my computer at the same time as Chad is on it on his computer.
Yeah, I hope
and
they
so
fix
that's to me is a little bit frustrating. So when we're trip planning together, it makes it tricky. So I'm usually just doing research on Google or something like that because he's on Trip Wizard. Ben Priester, thank you so much for the super sticker.
So let's just take it. This just took no.
Or is it just the screen?
Just the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is just a sample. I've got a route here from the Great Outdoors to Elkhart. You can see it's 702 miles, which is way more than we like to drive. You can see it's put based on our vehicle settings, which are in here.
And that is key, and that's one of the things that we love about this Trip Wizard.
Mm-hmm. I can see that I'm going to run out of fuel right around here, but I want to get about halfway. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to turn on parks. Next, I'm going to go over here and filter. This is one thing I really like about this also, because if you're looking for certain criteria, you can immediately go in here and filter them out. So we want big rig access. It's an overnighter, so we want pull-through sites. Yeah, sure, maybe some full hookups, or at least 50 amp. Yeah, we'll do 50 amp. And you can see there are a lot of different things here. You can say, okay, it's got to have a pool. It's got to have, it's got to be a good SAM or a KOA. So again, there's so much in here. It's just insane. But you can save your filters. One thing we use a lot too is the park rating. So, show me only 4 and 5 stars. Let's start there.
Well, RV Living Life says they both use Trip Wizard at the same time.
Huh.
In the same account. So RV Living Life, if you can hear me, are you using the same account?
We haven't tried it in a while.
This is true. Yeah. I haven't tried it recently because I just never thought it was possible.
So anyway, let's take a look here. I can see that there is, zoom in a little bit. Here's a Northern Kentucky RV Park. I can go to the park details. And this is where it really gets cool too, because campgroundreviews.com is also owned by RV Life, and the reviews are in here. So we always check those. So those are kind of nice to see those right at the top, the most recent ones.
You can also go right to the website from here too, and so that's really neat.
I can click on website. Mm-hmm. It'll open it right up. I can go to book now. Is this going to be a real book now?
Is this a real book now? It's a real book now. You guys know, any of you who have been reserving campsites for even a little while know that there's plenty of websites out there where you can't book right from the website. So.
Yeah. And this feature is really cool too. So you know that on a travel day, we like to be as prepared as we can information-wise. So we'll hit satellite map. It'll take you right to the park, and then boom, right to the satellite view. So this kind of helps too if you've got a map of the park and you want to see where that is physically. So here you notice these ones over here back right up to I-75, so we might not want those. Overnight, we probably don't care, but if we're booking a site for 10 to 14 days, we probably don't want to be right on the interstate. I will also go down here and actually take a look at Street View and take a look and see what the entrance looks like. Those lines look kind of low.
You guys,
let me back up and look at it. Yeah, they're not bad.
This is a big deal for us because we are so large. If you're in a travel van or something like that, then you probably don't need to worry about that as much. But for us, it's a big deal.
Yeah. And so let's just say, let me go back over here. Let's just say we booked it. I can add it to the trip. I can say add it after the great outdoors, and then boom, there it is. Now we've got a 351 mile day and a 304 mile day. That's perfect. If I show the entire trip here, let me turn off that because it's kind of cluttered. So that's that. Some other things you can do on here as you're traveling, or let's say you want to plan a fuel stop. I can say, show me the fuel stops around this area since I know I'm going to be running out soon. There we go. So I can see there's a TA here. Those usually have good discounts. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. Now, also during overnights, for overnight stays, our go-to isn't usually an RV park. We love to use Harvest Hosts. So if you look, what I'll do is I look at the overall view here and I say, okay, we want to stay somewhere around here. I will hop over to Harvest Hosts and look in that area, and I'll see what's what. Now, Harvest Host, I don't know when they added it, but they not too long ago added these preferences and these filters, which are awesome. Mm-hmm. So you can say whether you want to just do wineries, farms, whatever. Also, if you've ever been on Boondockers Welcome, that is also owned by RV Life now, and it's all under one umbrella. Still 2 separate memberships, but they use the same interface. I don't know if they're ever going to bundle those or combine those, but I would guess they might, but I don't know. I don't work there. So one thing I love about this, though, is this right here, your RV's length. Before, you used to have to drill into them and then look at it and see if they had that So we always use 45 plus because we're like 60 something feet hooked up. We'd want generators. Hey, let's just see
and
what we got here.
of course, pets allowed.
Yeah, of course, pets
Daisy
allowed.
has to be allowed.
So here's Country Boy Brewing. Let's go take a look at Country Boy Brewing. Ooh, I like that. It looks like a hazy IPA.
That looks that's right up Chad's alley.
So here's where you can find all the information about it, put in dates. They also have, a lot of them have reservations built in now, so that's really cool.
Yes.
But what we'll do is we'll just, if we decide we've got a spot booked there, I will just copy this address out of here, poke it right in there, and then boom, I'll add it as a custom stop.
So real quick, I don't know if you mentioned that Trip Wizard is there is an annual fee for that. Did you mention that?
No, I didn't.
Because people were asking. It is an annual fee.
Thank you, Richard.
And I believe it's Is it $59? Yeah, it's $59 a year, right?
RV Trip Wizard.
RV Trip Wizard. Yeah. That is the trip planner, which we just showed you, and the RV Life app as well. And then Boondocker and Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome Now are on the same platform, and that is an annual subscription cost as well. And that price is increasing May 1st, I believe. So
you got a month if you want to grab the old price.
Yeah.
We have a 25%.
15%.
We have a 15% discount for the Harvest Hosts. So we'll have a link for that down below. We have a 25% discount for RV Life.
When we say down below, you're going to find all that information in the description, which is below the video box on YouTube. If you're watching on a television, you might not be able to find it on a TV. You might have to go to your computer or your phone or something to find that. Yeah. So just so you know.
I don't even know. It's people ask us all the time because we would love it. First of all, we'd love it if you would click the thumbs up for us, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Oh, we didn't mention that. You have to be subscribed to comment. So,
well, everybody's commenting, so thank you, all of you, because that means you are all subscribed.
It probably says.
Yeah. So we have been making our guests wait for a while. Did we talk about everything already that we wanted to talk about with Harvest Host? And
also, Harvest Hosts are generally for one night. Sometimes you can get away with two if you call and ask. The Boondockers Welcome are actual people that have land, like the place we're staying now, who have decided they want to share with the RV community.
Okay, but our friends are not on Boondockers Welcome.
They're not. They're not.
Just saying.
But my point is, some of those, they'll say how long you can stay.
Yeah.
And you can probably call them and say, hey, we're going to stay a month.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. And you guys always, especially if you're using Boondockers Welcome and your hosts are really generous, because sometimes they will have hookups for you and stuff, make sure you do something nice for them, or give them some money, or bottle of wine or something that they might like.
Keep a couple Amazon gift cards
or something.
On hand,
yeah. And the same thing goes for Harvest Hosts. We always try to purchase something if it's a brewery or a winery or a farm or something and they have a store open. Sometimes for us, we get there after they close, which then we can't. Yeah. We can't. But
golf courses can be difficult. If they want you to play around, some of them do.
And sometimes that gets more expensive.
Yeah, then it's like, why bother?
Right.
$70 round of golf.
Yes. So, you ready to talk about the stuff that we don't know much about?
Yeah. You'll notice in our trip planning, there was not a mention of boondocking. Now, in RV Trip Wizard, they do have some BLM stuff out there, but not quite. Thank you, Kevin. Even they will say it. Boondocking is not their forte, but maybe in the future they'll have more stuff in there. But our guests that we're going to bring on are very familiar. They have been on the road for 16 plus years, or almost 16 years, or something like that.
I cannot imagine.
Fully untethered.
And these two have had numerous different vehicles, from small travel trailers to a very large bus and a boat. And I mean, they really understand the nomad life. So we are super pumped to have them on.
Yes, they are definitely way ahead of us. They've been doing this a long time. This is Chris and Cherie from Technomadia. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Thank you for waiting in the green room for so long.
It's not even green in there.
Really. So it was kind of fun. We had a party back there. Yeah. You had nice refreshments in the green room. We're hitting the open bar.
Yes, we like to take care of our guests. What can we say? Before we jump into the tools that you guys are going to talk about, Did we want to show the polls that we put out on?
Yeah. But real quick
YouTube?
before jumping to that, I just want to say thank you to you guys because you have saved us just a ton of headache and money with your internet side of things, the Mobile Internet Resource Center. We're going to get into that more. Hopefully, going to have you guys back and talk all about internet stuff. But these guys have just saved me a ton of headache and pain.
Yes, you guys are awesome.
So yeah, we did a couple of polls in anticipation of this live. Let's take a look here. One of them was, how far in advance do you plan your travel itinerary and book your sites? It's pretty well spread out. 6 to 12 months out, 35%, only a few months out, and some of them are just winging it. 21% of you are crazy.
I was actually surprised that so many of you are like me and like to book way far in advance. So that makes me feel better.
I think a lot of it depends on the size of RV. So do you guys book differently when you're taking out Zephyr versus Copernicus? For those who don't know, Zephyr is their bus and Copernicus is their van.
Oh, wait.
Actually, Blooper is our van now.
We take vans.
Yes.
Oh,
Blooper.
okay.
Blooper. It's a blue Cooper.
Yes.
We got a blue one now. So, yes. But yes.
So we made a Blooper.
We've had over the years small travel trailers. We've had our bus, which is at 35 feet. So
it's a small bus.
It's kind of small. So we intentionally picked something that was compatible with old style campgrounds. So we had more flexibility.
So 1961, we had to go all the way back to the 60s to find a full-on bus that would fit the sizes we wanted.
And then we have the van now that we travel in. And you know what? With either of them, we haven't done a lot of active traveling in the last couple of years with the bus where we needed to even think about it, as RVing's gotten more popular. But, we're pretty much winging it. I mean, we sometimes will set out and not even know where we're going that evening.
Well, and when you say like, we consider winging it when we don't know where we're going that evening. We consider planning a long time ahead if we're planning 3 days out. Like, wow, okay, well, we really want to commit to something next week, I guess. So we consider that way planning.
But we did just do come off a 6-month van trip around the country, and we did actually fall into a routine of we would book about 1 to 2 weeks out and just kind of plan our itinerary, make sure we wanted the right spots for us, and that and pick which nights we were going to try to do more like the Harvest Hosts or the boondocking or things like that. But yeah, we unless we're going to an event that we need to be in a specific location, a specific time, we don't book more than a week or 2 out.
Because we want to be able to adjust to the weather or cool things that come up or cool things we hear about. And we do actually use RV Trip Wizard as a tool. And I love how flexible that is just to just completely change and rejigger everything on the fly. So I'll kind of have a tentative route of just hypotheticals and places we haven't booked or even checked things. Just like if we went here, that sounded cool, kind of cool, just in hypothetical mode. And then as we get closer to them, I try to turn those into real. And
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
So let's jump over to our next poll question, which is with fuel prices. That's easy for me to say. Fuel prices climbing. Do you plan on doing more free/cheap boondocking this year? And 17% said yes.
I thought it would be a little bit more than that.
I thought it would be higher than that.
I did.
But there are 36% who are just going to RV less or stay closer to home.
Yeah, but 47% of you are not changing your travel plans because of fuel prices. So that's good to know. I actually expected that to be a little bit different. So it's interesting.
Yeah. What about you guys? You guys have to fuel a van and a boat and a...
Yeah, we're going to be filling up the boat this week. So we'll be taking on probably about 200 gallons at about $5 to $6 a gallon of diesel. So but we'll have to do it like once a year.
Yeah, well, it's been forever since the boat travels so few miles relatively, and it's fuel efficient per hour that, it's a once every so often pain unless we're trying to really cover a lot of ground, or a lot of water. I guess it's a boat. But
there's ground underneath there.
Yeah, we do most of our miles in the van, and then our bus kind of lives out in the west, and our boat is on the east.
Right. And we just look at fuel costs as more like rent or mortgage payment. Part of that, it's part of the living cost as a nomad than it is a transportation cost. So it's really shifting your perspective, and that you have control over that, and by mixing it up with boondocking or not going as many miles.
And for us also, boondocking was never about saving money. It was always about, it's like sometimes the absolute, I would pay hundreds of dollars a night for some of the boondocking spots we've had.
Well, yeah,
yes.
The quality is about getting more privacy.
We've got a magic places.
it's getting more privacy. It's getting better views. It's just being out in nature and not being in a crowded RV park. So, we love state parks. We love Army Corps of Engineer parks. We love
Corps of
places
Engineer.
where we get more space around us. I like it when my view is of trees or water, not of someone else's RV.
Yeah, someone else's poop hose.
Yeah, that's not the best thing to do.
No, you're absolutely right there. And
definitely.
we forgot to mention Corps of Engineers, because those are some of the most beautiful parks we've been in.
Yeah, and those are
such great value too.
Yes.
Oh, definitely, for sure. The shoot, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're gonna real quick before we get into the boondocking aspect of it all, I do want to mention etiquette and how some people are kind of ruining it possibly for others. And by what I mean is you're seeing more and more of public lands being really messed up, destroyed, left worse than when people came in before. And basically, all we want to do is remind everybody that these public lands, when you leave there, make it look better than it did before you got there. I mean, clean up after yourself, of course, but if there's junk, if there's garbage, if there's litter, pick that up too while you're at it.
Because you might be saving that spot's availability for future. You might, you can certainly curse them while you pick up their garbage, but
yeah, I mean, but we've picked up plenty of garbage.
Yeah, I consider that part of the payment for a free site, a free boondocking site, is I will go out and go for a hike and fill up a full trash bag and take that away as part of my payment to the land as thank you.
Yes, and keeping it, helping preserve those lands so we can all enjoy them. And it's pack it in, pack it out. These places are not meant. Don't leave it for your next camper to have to go pick up after you.
Yeah, because you never know when they're gonna stop allowing that particular piece of land or area to be available for camping. So let's just be good campers.
Good stewards.
Okay.
Real quick, before we jump into this, I just want to thank I want to thank Ben Priester, Richard Goldberg, Upstate RV, Kevin Neely, an RV couple just sent us $50. Thank you. So thank you for those super chats and super stickers.
Thank you so much, you guys.
We will try to keep up with the thank yous on those. And now my scrolling is off.
Now his scrolling is all off. We've just messed it all up.
All right, so I know what I was thinking before. It was because it was related to this. We do boondock, but it's always been in places that we know are safe for a big RV, which is like Lone Rock Beach,
where we've seen other people with large RVs also boondock. Yeah. So we haven't taken a big risk on our own as far as boondocking is concerned.
And most of the harvest hosts are boondocking, but that's not like boondocking, but yeah. So let's jump in here. So tell us a little bit about, because you guys wrote some apps specifically for boondocking.
Right. So we hit the road back in 2006. Chris started solo, and then I joined him soon after. And we started in a little tiny travel trailer. And he was telling me as we were doing our first cross-country trip in 2007 about this boondocking concept. So here in Florida and the Southeast, we don't have a lot of that opportunity. Maybe in some of the forests around we can. But as you get west, you got all this public land owned by the BLM and the National Forest. And he's telling me about that we can overnight on these places for free. I'm like, you're crazy, dude. But so
I had been doing it. I had actually my college roommate had been a very avid boondocker and stuff. So I was trying to explain it, trust. No, it is legit. And the first night we were going to do this, I picked out a spot, and it was a lot harder to research things back then. And I picked out the spot, and it's this is BLM land, and she kind of expected there to be a sign saying free parking right here.
I was welcome, Cherie. Enjoy your stay. And there's nothing like that when you get to these spots. And back then, we had a little tiny bit of internet, and I was up all night trying to get the BLM website to load to verify that we were actually on public land and that we weren't going to have someone knocking on our door with a shotgun in the morning, and kicking us out. I didn't sleep at all that night. And I got him up as soon as the sun came up, and I said, "We're out of here." It's we got to get out here. I was just convinced in my head. I just wanted a resource that would bring up and say, "Yes, you're on BLM land. Rest easy." I wanted that welcome Cherie sign. So years pass. We had developed another app called Coverage, which shows the cellular carriers' coverage maps, because even more important than not getting kicked out of your campsite is that you can get online. So we created an app back in 2010.
It's been over 10 years for Coverage. Yeah.
I'll show that real quick here. That's this app right here.
Thank you to Kat and Evan Waters for your super chat.
Oh, you need to upgrade your coverage.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
Are you way behind?
What do you mean?
I don't know. They said you need to update your coverage.
Yeah.
Oh, is the app not updating?
Yeah, you don't have all the 5G layers, nor do you have Canadian.
Here's
Canadian's an add-on.
Yeah, you can buy the app and then you can subscribe and you get the higher res maps and Canada layers and other stuff too.
And satellite background. So anyway, this is the basic app where you can see where coverage is, and it's not as important now. I mean, coverage is so many more places than it was back in the dark ages. But anyway, so we had already come up with the technology of overlaying maps,
and the maps are offline, so they work when you don't have coverage,
right?
Which is important. So I was just doing a normal morning surf the internet thing, and I found that finally there were now public domain sources of the publicly owned lands. And I woke Chris up again early in the morning, and I said, finally we can create this app where we can show BLM and National Forest, and that became U.S. public lands built on the same engine that we built coverage on.
So offline maps, everything is pre-downloaded, and it's just a kind of a basic tool. But it's powerful and it's very fun because it's got so many different layers that you can just explore to see, all the land that is owned by us, all of us who are taxpayers or citizens and stuff. And there's a lot of it out there.
And for people interested in boondocking, you really want to focus on Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Forest Service.
And you don't want to go to the Department of Defense lands to.
They don't like that.
I'll turn everything off except for BLM and
there we go.
UFS.
But as you can see, it's mostly out west.
Yeah, clearly there's a lot more out west.
Right. And, just as an example, so there are a lot of great ways to find boondocking spots now. There's campendium tracks, a whole bunch of them. And I call those the low-hanging fruit boondocking spots. Those are popular ones. Those are ones that are easy to find. There's lots of notes and history on them that are shared in campendium.
And it's great because you could sometimes, see people who've done it with your type of rig, and they'll comment about how hard it was to get a fifth wheel or a big Class A down and stuff. Those are the places, but then you go there and they also tend to be very crowded too. So that's kind of
right. So what we like with U.S. public lands and how we use it is to find the ones that aren't as popular, the ones that haven't been reported to campendium yet. And so the next piece of etiquette is, if you find a sweet boondocking spot that's not already publicly documented, don't share about it on social media because that's how it's going to get popular and eventually get shut down.
Yeah, you tell your friends and tell them not to tell their friends' friends and stuff.
Word of mouth on these.
Don't share it on YouTube. Oh.
Yeah.
So you're going to share one of ours and ruin it.
So we've already shared this one. So, and it's not a great one. So we were traveling through Idaho with some friends a few years back, and they wanted to try boondocking for the first time. Yeah. And we were craving water because there's not a lot of water out that way. So I looked on a U.S. public lands, and Chad, if you want to follow along with me on this one.
Yeah, so you said Idaho, so we'll zoom in here.
Twin Falls.
Yeah, just a little bit north of Twin Falls, south of Ketchum.
Let's see.
Zero in on Boise.
Here.
Scroll down. There you go. See where Haley is?
Yes.
And see that lake just south of Haley? That's the one I was looking at.
South
Find that lake.
That right there.
The Magic Reservoir.
Ooh.
Yes. And so we looked for reservoirs, and I looked for things that had those yellow squares over them. And then what we did next is I turned on the satellite view on the background of that and started looking around for signs of boondocking spots. So I'm looking for things that look like campsites.
And dirt roads and stuff like that. Yeah.
And we just started scrolling around in there, and we found some satellite imagery that showed that there were other RVs parked along the lake. So that's a little town, but
and that was like an infill private campground there, I think, of that north side. But
right.
you zoom around and you start to find, like, hey, this looks like a dirt road, and hey, that looks like a fifth wheel or a Class A or something that they got down there. Maybe I can too.
And then the next step that we do, so we don't always trust, just because someone's parked there doesn't necessarily mean they didn't get it.
Like, look at that. Those
but see there,
on the
so
water.
It's like,
oh.
so we're like, okay, this is worth looking into. These are larger RVs. There are clearly roads there. There actually looks to be something that looks like a structure. Maybe that's a bathhouse. And from there, then we went to the BLM website and looked it up. And we found only a little bit of information on it. But we decided we were comfortable enough with this location that we drove 2 Class A's out there, including someone who had
never driven off road,
never been off-road, never been boondocking before. And one of us unhooked our totes and then went and scouted it out in advance. We actually found the official sign for the land coming in, and it said 14-day free camping. Right.
Nice.
Yes,
there's your welcome sign.
Yes, not always.
We said,
We have a delay.
I know it. They just need to put my name on it, and we would have been all good.
And you also need to pay attention to the signs in reverse, because the published maps and stuff don't always cover private in holdings or leases and stuff. So if there's a no trespassing or private land sign, don't just hold up your app and say no, it's okay.
Chris and Cherie said I can stay here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the maps come from the U.S. Geological Survey, and they do state that they don't go in super focused, so they don't sometimes show the smaller in holdings. But I wouldn't use it for verifying you're somewhere safe overnight. But if you see other signs of campers being there before, you probably have been. So that's one way that we use to find campsites that
are not in Campendium yet and not really well explored.
Yes.
Nan was asking what the app for coverage looks like, because she said there's several apps for quote coverage. So I just wanted to show them. Yes.
It's coverage question mark.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's
I just wanted Chad to maybe pull it up and just show
I'll put it back on the screen here.
Just so they know that they're getting the right one. So
there's all 3 of our apps. We also wrote State Lines, was the first app we wrote way back.
That one tracks state lines that change as you cross state lines. Like, can you buy beer in the grocery store? Important things like that.
And how much is the liquor tax?
And what are the fuel taxes in each state?
Oh, Phil Farley.
Oh.
He said, can you show what the app looks like again? We just did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the one. Let me move it.
Yeah, there it is. The coverage.
It's in the upper left-hand corner.
Yes, it's coverage with a question mark.
Yeah.
And so those top 3 from the left are the 3 apps that you guys developed. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Over 10 years ago.
Wrote out of an RV.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I use most of these on my phone. I use your coverage app anytime we're going someplace that I don't know, because it's not near a city or somewhere. I'll look and say, because we're like you, we got to have coverage. And hey, I just got to notice our Starlink shipped.
Yay! We're broadcasting on Starlink, AT&T, and Sprint right now.
Starlink, Verizon, because AT&T is bad here. We're combining Verizon, Starlink, and Sprint here, and we're getting 35, 40 megabits per second up with those 3 connections combined. So, yay!
Nice.
Well, we're hoping that you will come back and hang out with us again, and you guys can talk. You guys can talk all about the tech stuff. I'll still be here to keep him in line. But,
yes, absolutely. I think you guys have some new kit. We have some new kit. We're about to put out a new video on our mobile internet setup, and I think you guys are working on one too. So
yeah, we've got some new 5G and Starlinks on the way. So
yeah.
And I did see it passing through the chat. Somebody's asking, all of our apps are both on iOS and Android. So yeah, you can get them on both on Android as well.
Thank you, Chris.
That's cool.
We started doing the apps as a side business, and then we now actually have a developer who keeps them updated for us, because our focus is the Mobile Internet Resource Center.
We don't have time to do maintenance as well.
Yeah,
I don't know how you keep up with that.
I don't either.
Real quick, he's got
a fat tongue today.
Real quick, thank you. Well, her name's Kat. I said fat.
Okay.
Thank you to Kat and Devin Waters. Lavender Lace and Bam Bam RV. Thank you guys.
I think Chad is just tired from spending so much time with his new truck.
I shouldn't have started drinking at 8 a.m.
He's totally lying, but okay.
So let's Is there anything else you guys want to cover on that before we jump into some Q&A? We got about 20 minutes left here, so it'll be all right.
Share a few other scouting tips.
That'd be awesome.
Just finding a map. It's like, or driving ahead with your tow. Like, particularly if you've got a bigger RV, or like our bus, we would never drive our bus someplace unless we'd scouted it in our car first. Or we've actually taken to using a drone and like, okay, you come to like Quartzsite where there's miles and miles and miles of dirt roads, but there's a lot of little washes and crazy stuff going in places. Is we'll just go park at the bottom of an area and try to scout, because we like to boondock in the 3D terrain. We want to get up above where we got a good view. We're not just out in the boring flat areas, which getting a bigger rig up some of those things is challenging. And sometimes if you get there, you might not be able to get back again other than backing down a hill. So we scout out with the drone first, and that's worked out really well.
When we're traveling with a Toad, we'll take the Toad out, or we'll get our e-bikes out and scout it out that way. Just make sure that there's no like rutted out roads that we think we're going to have an issue with. We'll sometimes just park, like when we're traveling in our van, it's low clearance, so we have a different consideration there. Our bus is higher clearance, so we don't really worry as much about the clearance. But with the van, it's very low clearance. Our lithium batteries on that one actually are the lowest point. Yeah. We don't want to hit those.
No.
So we'll actually walk around or take the e-bikes down and go and scout out and make sure that we can get the van back out to where we want to go.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Those are great ideas.
Our ultimate places, because we like to, when we boondocking, we like to find the places not near the crowds, and sometimes we go to some pretty extreme lengths to do that. And then we really hate it when then somebody else. Here's another request for other people: when you're boondocking, part of the joy of boondocking is like having a quarter mile between you and your neighbor. Mm-hmm. So when you find a great boondocking spot, don't go park next to somebody who's already there. Go, keep going. You know, keep finding the next.
Yeah.
So many times you put so much effort into picking the perfect spot, and never fails. An hour later, someone pulls in closer than they would at a RV park when there's wide open spaces. Now, if there's only 3 spaces, it's only 3 spaces. But also, if you see a lot of solar panels out around an RV, and you're going to be generator dependent, try to put some distance for the sound, because obviously someone with solar is probably not going to want generator sounds around. It just makes better neighbors.
Yes.
And that's a good point, because I don't think a lot of people would necessarily think about that. You know, I mean, and you're absolutely right. And I never even thought about that. Like, we don't have the generator running all the time, but somebody else might. So yeah, that's a good point. And somebody did just ask, David just asked if you feel comfortable leaving the rig for the day at a BLM site like that. And because we don't do it that often, we haven't really had to deal with that. So
if I look at it this way: if I don't feel comfortable leaving my rig alone for the day, I'm probably not gonna feel comfortable being there.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And I know for us, we have internet always, and we have a Ring alarm system and security cameras, and we could monitor everything remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, but when we're boondocking, especially if we're in the van, I mean, we can only leave in the bikes. We're not going to be more than a few miles away.
Yeah.
We rarely, the way we travel anymore, we don't have a Toad with us. But when we did, we would leave out for hours and hours at a time. I mean, we're homebodies, so we don't normally like to leave home.
Yeah, and we do have remote security cameras and stuff, and we just trust our gut. If someplace feels sketchy, we're probably moving on the next day anyway. I mean, if someplace has got that weird vibe.
Yeah.
But most boondockers are just like you. They're people who just want to have space around them. You'll find some would actually love to be neighbors, and if they invite you to be neighbors, go for it. Just don't assume it.
Go out there. We've had some of our best boondocking experiences have been kind of convergences. Actually, the Escapers Convergence was born out of an impromptu, let's teach these people how to boondock in the desert session. It's like, come out here and let's build a neighborhood. And we had who knows how many rigs all scattered across this big area of Quartzsite, and people set up. We set up a movie theater on the side of our bus. Somebody else set up a stage with dance music.
That's party.
Party docking, but
party docking. I like it.
We had our own neighborhood. It was awesome.
Very cool.
And, and somebody did mention something about like Waggle. So when we boondock and stuff, we do use Waggle so we can monitor Daisy, which other people have said, please bring Daisy. Come here, puppy. Oh, can you guys see her down there? Chad, move out of the way for a second.
Oh, yeah,
there she is.
She's right.
Oh,
there.
Look at the sleepy head. Oh, she's like, you woke me up, Mama. But people have been asking to see Daisy.
We'll bring her up at the end.
She's down there. But yes, we do use a monitoring system to make sure that the temperatures stay good for her if we do leave.
So. Yeah. We have a couple of questions from our social media posts. One of them is from KM Stratton. When boondocking, what's the best way to assure safe drinking water? I know we sanitize your tanks. What do you guys say?
So we in between extended boondocking, we use Passport America to usually get a RV site for half off for 1 or 2 nights. We call it sleeping at the dump station, and that's when we'll dump our tanks, fill our water tanks, give them a good flush, get our laundry, reprovision. So we go out when we hit a boondocking spot with full tanks. Our bus can hold 120 gallons of fresh water, and that's plenty for 2 weeks. The 2 weeks max. Our van, we're limited to only 18 gallons of fresh water.
Get through a week, maybe.
Really stretch it.
If we're not showering and we're not drinking, we're drinking beer instead of water. We're in the van. We're going to be going out and refilling the tanks. And
I like that answer. Drink beer instead of water.
Chris and Cherie, I don't know if you've seen in this chat thread that somebody coined the term when somebody gets up too close to you when you're boondocking as spoondocking.
That's good. I like that.
That's amazing. I've been seeing several spoondocking comments coming through, and that's hilarious. So, thank you.
I think that your answer answers this question also. After boondocking for several days, what's the best resource for dumping your tanks, getting them ready? I like that idea. Full hookup site and do your laundry and all that stuff. That's a really good idea. So
take long showers. We'll indulge in air conditioning or heating if we need to.
And sometimes it just feels like, because like Passport America, sometimes the half price stay for a night is $10 for full hookups. And like, seriously? Okay.
Or maybe we find a state park or something like that. But we usually mix it up with having a paid stay somewhere where we have full hookups and we can just really take care of everything. But sometimes that's not even possible. They're not around. They're full. They're too expensive.
Now in Quartzsite, where there's like a huge boondocking community, they actually have a place called the RV Pit Stop, and there's a couple other places that kind of specialize in this, where you just kind of pull in and it's like an assembly line. You fill your propane tank, dump your tank, fill your tank, and just shoot right out the other side. So it's because people come in every however long their tanks last and just pass through and go right back on out.
Very cool.
And also there are quite a few truck stops also have RV dump stations as well, if you don't have an RV park near you or something. So that's another possibility.
Campendium has is a good resource for dump stations too. You can find those.
They've been really adding in their dump stations. So we've used that and just found some. Sometimes you pay $10 to do it. And we look at that as like, wait a minute, we can stay at the Passport America. We can sleep at our dump station, or we can drive through. It just really depends. But we really like the stay a night or two in between boondocking.
Cool.
I totally get it. That makes sense.
This next question I get asked a lot, so I wanted to bring it up. Trying to work between the RV Life Trip Wizard and a Garmin 890, moving plans from one to the other is painful at best. My suggestion is don't do that. We use RV Trip Wizard just for the planning, and we don't. It does include a navigation tool. You can actually have it give you RV safe directions. We have noticed via the app, right? We have noticed that tool will go sometimes way out of the way, whereas our Garmin takes a much better route. We've had the RV Life app tell us, 2 or 3 hours out of the way sometimes. But as far as exporting what you see in the path and RV Trip Wizard to your Garmin, just plug in the address and let your Garmin or whatever nav you use take you there, because it's going to take into account traffic conditions and road closures and things like that. Do you guys use an RV GPS or?
We have one on the bus, but in general, when for his GPS underway, I actually like to have at least 3 different things going simultaneously, as if they all agree, then I feel good, and if they disagree, I'm like, I get Cherie, co-pilot, hey, we need manual research to determine which one of these is right or wrong, because something's weird going on, and it's just like that extra reassurance. So I usually have Google Maps, Apple Maps, and it is a Garmin.
I think it's an older
Garmin that we have in the bus would be our triple.
But in the van, we basically are just doing CarPlay.
Yeah, in the van we use CarPlay, but I use 2 apps. I use Google Maps and Apple Maps simultaneously on CarPlay screen in the van.
I haven't looked to see if the RV Trip Wizard or if the RV Life app does CarPlay. I don't know. I have to look at that.
It actually does, and I've got that next time we take a trip. I was planning to add that to the mix as well. I've not tried that on CarPlay's interface yet, but
neither have I. The 450 has wireless CarPlay now, so we'll be able to.
Yep.
deal with it.
Will you put that one up, please?
Yeah. Well, we're not done with these.
Oh, okay.
How fast we drive while towing. Went through Louisiana. I didn't want to go too slow or too fast.
Oh, Louisiana roads.
Yeah. Oh man, I-10 is horrible through there. We have a maximum of 65. That's just us. That's just a speed that we're comfortable with. You know, if you're gonna take a 20,000 pound RV 75 miles an hour, that's just not safe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. So we max out at 65 or speed limit, whatever that is. How about you guys?
Our bus can't go over 55.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
The bus can get up to 60, maybe 65, but really, the bus loves it. It is in its sweet spot. The engine is purring and happy at 55. It is a joy to drive. People, you feel like a speed bump, but we try to take the back roads anyway.
And the van, we go.
The van can do the speed limit and just cruise whatever the speed limit is.
And our boat goes 7.
Yeah, we love the speed of the boat. They honk at you a lot if you want to bust the speed of the boat, but we like going 78 miles an hour.
That's cool.
That's my kind of speed. I like that. Yeah. And your bus was built in 61, right? Or something like that. I think I remember. That's really cool.
Here's our mini bus we keep on the boat to remind us.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love it.
All right, so we got about 10 minutes. We're going to grab some questions from the chat. I'm going to grab some
you guys
of these.
Stick with us because we have, at the very end, we're going to hit play on some never before seen footage, and it's all outtakes. And you're going to know some of the people in these outtakes. So Phil and Stacy, you better get ready as well because they're outtakes of you and
true.
Us.
All right, let's see. Let's do some of these super chats here.
Well, it actually Bam Bam.
Yeah, so let's do
because Bam Bam RV has some questions.
All right, so looking to boondock a half a year in areas you show no coverage. My old stopping grounds. Does 5G really matter? I think those are two separate questions. You're looking to boondock for 6 months.
I think maybe did he try to reword it here?
Yeah,
I think they tried to reword it in the second message. So bear with us for 1 second.
5G is a big topic. If you go over to our Mobile Internet Resource Center channel, we last month did a major update on the state of 5G for mobile internet. That's about a 20-minute video. So I'm.
Oops.
Chat, I can't hear them.
Hold on.
Sorry, guys.
On the website too, and we have a YouTube channel just for mobile internet there.
Yeah, you guys.
We just did a major update on it.
We're gonna make sure you have links to all their websites and stuff too, right, in the description.
Yeah, everything we've talked about will be linked down below.
Yeah, so all of their mobile internet stuff will also be in this description. And again, we hope to have them on in the future on another carpool lane to talk mobile internet.
Dedicated chat all about that. But if you want to stay connected in places where there is no cell coverage, then that's where Starlink starts to come in, and that's gets to Starlink is just in this past month gotten relatively easy to get, and a lot is happening and developing there. So
they enabled roaming just about 3 weeks ago, so you can now travel with it without having to have a service address. We just put out a full guide to that at rvmobileinternet.com/Starlink.
Awesome.
That is cool.
We sent to Chad and Tara earlier this week. So
that's how they got their Starlink.
That's right. These guys know what they're talking about.
Technically, I'm going to be living in a field in Kansas somewhere, according to Starlink. Jeff Hargis says, "Why do you not stay at military-based FAM camps and Corps of Engineers?" We do stay at Corps of Engineers,
and Phil and Stacy do stay at military-based camps. So check out some of their videos on that.
I'm just a slacker when it comes to getting into the VA system.
That's all it is.
I just gotta bite the bullet and go through that red tape.
Oh, and I also want to mention that Phil and Stacy, you mean the RV, also have some boondocking and free campsite videos as well. That you did put a link to that in the description too, right?
What?
They're Phil and Stacy's video.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It will be there. I haven't done the whole description thing yet. Let's see here.
Got time for a few more questions. Let's see.
Oh, here's one. Let me clear this. Martha Wilson says, can you change the route you want to use on TripWizard? Yes. There's a little box at the top that says drag route, and then you can drag the route just like you can on Google Maps or something. It'll actually create a waypoint for you in that. But yeah, we've done that before.
Oh, we do it all the time, because I always try to route by really weird back roads, and I almost always override its defaults. But I love how RV TripWizard lets you get really intricate in customizing the route way better than Google Maps. And I find all sorts of strange little ways to go.
Yeah, that might be good on the motorcycle. We've used Google Maps before out on the motorcycle. We'll plan a route and we'll have waypoints. In Google Maps, man, if you miss a waypoint, like if you don't drive right over the top of it, it just gets weird.
Yeah. I mean, remember everybody that we do have discounts for RV TripWizard and Harvest Hosts and Boondockers Welcome. Those promo codes are in the description. Do we have any?
Yeah. Allison Williamson. Hey,
Eileen.
all.
It's Eileen.
Eileen. So
he can't read or talk, apparently.
I'm doing like 5 things at once.
I know.
Here. Do you find yourself staying in one place longer with these gas prices? That goes back to that poll. We don't, just because traveling is kind of our job now.
Yeah, and we, like we mentioned earlier, we've been really lucky that we've had friends that have allowed us to mooch dock on their property. If you don't know what mooch docking is, it's basically boondocking, but you're mooching off your friends, so or family or whomever will let you like park on their property. So, but
always take care of your hosts. Take them to dinner. Always pay for your electricity.
Yes, he knows how much electricity we use when we stay with our friends or our family.
Yeah, our Victron will tell us exactly how many kilowatt hours we use.
And so we make sure we pay for what we use and then some, because we really appreciate it and we want to be able to go back to our friend's house. So, and our family. Anything else that we want to?
Yeah, let me see. We got a couple here. Oh, that one didn't come up.
While Chad's doing that, Chris and Cherie, do you have anything else that you want to mention or anything coming up that you guys want to let anybody know about? Or because he's searching for questions.
No, we're looking forward to see. We're doing a boat trip coming up and then a van trip right after that. So yeah, we're going to be out in motion again, which feels good. We've been stopped for 2 months now in Sanford here in Florida.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully everybody out there watching that hasn't followed you previously will go and do so now on Technomadia and with their mobile internet resources.
Yep, we have 2 channels. Technomadia is the fun part. That one involves cats and wine. And, then,
and boats.
Yeah, we just put out a video on the Technomadia one going over the bus, the van, and the boat, and how all three compare, and how they play into our nomadic fleet.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. And this will probably be our last
Keegan
question.
Also is the one that keeps wanting to see Daisy. So is it time to bring Daisy? I'll bring Daisy.
Drag that ragamuffin up here.
Okay. You can go ahead and ask the question.
Oh, Keegan says, do you guys ever plan to come to Ottawa or Montreal or Toronto? Yes, at some point.
Yes.
We had. Oh dear!
She needs a bath, and she has a bath. She had a bath, but she needs a haircut.
She's raggedy.
Oh my goodness!
Get her up close.
Look at everybody.
Get her up close.
Look at everybody. She's like, "Why'd you wake me up, Mom?"
It's almost time for
We
bed.
did have plans in 2020 to spend the whole summer in Canada, but we all know how 2020 turned out. So we haven't been able to get back up there. So
now that it's all back open, we do want to. We're going to be going up into Michigan and stuff this year, hopefully. We're also going to be looking for property this year, so a lot of it's going to hinge around that. Because after 4.5 years on the road, we're apparently not as nomadic as Chris and Cherie. We're finding ourselves needing a home base. And it'll be good for our project videos and stuff too, to have a place to stay and work on the RV.
For sure. Yeah. And we'll probably only stay there for maybe 3 or 4 weeks at a time, just to kind of regroup, and then we'll get antsy and want to hit the road again. I'm certain of it. But just to have that place that's home, that is your home and is there when you need it.
Yeah, and it's a bailout option if you I don't know.
If you can't find a site, you can go home.
COVID 5.0
hits.
Let's
stop. No, don't even. Don't listen. I think that we've taken up Chris and Cherie's time, and everybody's ready to probably laugh and see the outtakes. So really quickly, we want to thank Chris and Cherie for being on with us tonight. And
Thank you for having us.
And we learned a lot and got some good tips for boondocking. So that was really awesome. Hopefully everybody out there also feels the same way. I'm sure they do. And we want to thank our moderators again, Phil and Stacy, Yumi in the RV, and Kyle and Renee from Happily Ever Hanks, and our awesome VA Chris, who has been in the chat moderating everything. And you guys are awesome as always. And what else?
I don't know. Somebody said do a video on Floby Daisy. We have a YouTube short out there on Floby and Daisy. It's not a whole video, but you get to see it.
We do.
And yes, I do use it as well.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
But not this time. This is a number. This is a super.
Yeah, Dave. He just got it cut like
yeah.
2 days ago or something.
Yeah, it was like 2. It was 2 days ago.
I know. Okay. Well, thanks again, Chris and Cherie. We really, really appreciate it, and we hope to see you on. We'll have to figure out when will be a good time after we get our Starlink and.
Yeah, we'll put our other hat on and go into work mode.
And
that's right.
Get together in person here in Florida at some point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Beers.
And just for fun. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
That would be good. Yeah.
yeah, we're in a drinking town with a historic problem. It's a great place.
I know. We were in Sanford several years ago, but I don't think that we actually went into Sanford. Because I don't remember seeing like the little cute downtown or anything. So
check that out. You know, we got to put some miles on the truck. So
it's true.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
And don't forget to play the video of the outtakes.
Here come the outtakes.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. At all.
Speaking of Daisy, where is she? She's in.
She's in the office.
I was like, that's weird that she's not trying to get up on my lap. Poor baby. We locked her in the office.
That reminds me of the Seinfeld episode. Remember?
Yeah.
You don't remember Putty with the devils? Ah! The second floor is the actual courtroom where the
Phil's not following directions.
Breaking the rules, Phil.
Phil.
Launch officer, also the ship's proctologist.
No.
Oscar Goodwin.
Mm-hmm.
Goodman. Dang it.
You full of it?
Am I all hot air? Is that what you're trying to say? It was actually then Mayor Oscar Goodman. Goodman?
Goodman.
Gosh darn it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Wait
till Stacy gets out of the shot.
Got a shot, Stacy.
Got a shot, Stacy.
Oh yeah.
Ow!
Oh.
Wasn't recording. Do it again.
No, it's over. The impromptu-ness is over. It was spontaneity and you missed it.
I don't think impromptu-ness is a word.
Huh?
I don't think impromptu-ness is a word.
It is a word in my vocabulary.
So Bill drove the boat. The boat?
Mm-hmm.
You're back in white uniform.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty.
Okay. That's terrible.
Old Sparky. Get off me, it's hot. So hot out here.
How hot is it?
It's so hot. All the popcorn popped. The cows thought it was snow and they froze to death.
We got your camera. We got your camera.
By the dam.
Yeah, it was a really neat. Sorry, say it over.
I'll start over.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do we look? Which camera?
I know.
Balls, it's hot.
Oh, they're taking each other out back here. We got. I hope you're catching
Is there
this.
a cage match back there?
I hope you're catching this.
When YouTubers
guys.
go out with YouTubers. 59? I think it's
Filming, people filming.
Kebab.
Eat your liver with fava beans.
Hell no. I don't like that. Elevator footage. Cause why not?
Next stop, menswear.
Going on the gondola.
going on the gondola. That's Australian. How do you have an
Going on the gondola, mate.
that's Australian. How do you do Italian accent?
I don't really do a very good Italian.
Getting on the gondola.
What was saying?
I'm not saying anything right now. I just wanted to smile because they're talking. I didn't want to be rude. Did we mention we're the only ones in this RV park? But it's really noisy because they're doing construction. Yay!
Mob Museum.
Good job.
Stacy has finally found a horse.
With no name.
It's like the bull riding championships.
That's right. No hands.
Let's go beach.
I need a quarter. She's not even been drinking. We got jokes for days.